Now we're going to get down to the nitty-gritty of what Indians are all about.
I still say we Indian people are believers in the truth. This is the way of life that was given to your people. You're born an Indian, you're going to die an Indian. Indianness is a good life. You're facing an Indian this afternoon.
The federal judge presiding over the Tribal Compact lawsuit has ruled that the compacts renewed on January 1st, 2020. This ruling affirms that the tribes had functioning compacts since that date, and they will continue on for another 15-year term. This follows an Oklahoma Supreme Court ruling that compacts signed by Governor Stitt and the Comanche Nation and the Oto-Missouri tribe were invalid. Mvskoke Media will have more on this developing story.
All right. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to our weekly press briefings over the last several months. We've had a lot of support for that, and we appreciate it very much. And each week we bring you some of the latest information with Jason Salzman, who is the Mvskoke Creek Nation Press Secretary. He's joining us, and he's got some interesting updates. We're expecting some great announcements on gaming news, and we're anxious to get to gear on and learn all the rulings and who is ruled what way. So without further ado, Jason, give us the scoop, friend.
Well, thank you so much, Angel, as well as Mvskoke Media, the free and independent statutory agency, Mvskoke Media, I might add. Very glad to be with you guys as always, and so thankful for the platform and the opportunity to be able to share some things with you all, and on what has been a great day in the Principal Chief's office for Mvskoke Creek Nation and really for United for Oklahoma, for the tribes that held steadfast in our, not belief, our knowledge that the plain language of the compact indicated that they renewed automatically on January 1st. And the tribes never wanted to be adversarial or wanted to renegotiate because we didn't think that there was anything to negotiate. Because of the plain language of that compact agreement and the auto renewal. We felt we had the language on our side. We felt we had the courts on our side. I just think the only person we felt we didn't have on our side was the governor, Governor Stitt. And hopefully, we can move on from this, all of us, now that the ruling has come out today, that the compacts did in fact renew and are renewed for another 15 years. And they are what they are, and we've stood by that, and so happy to have the court affirm that as well. But hopefully, moving forward, we can sort of repair and maybe build a relationship at some point that gets past this. I think the Principal Chief in his comments, and if you don't mind, Angel, I'll just read his statement that he released today. It was, "We're pleased to see that the court's ruling this morning reflects our steadfast assertion that the compacts automatically renewed on January 1st. This decision further strengthens the opportunities opened up by the recent Supreme Court decision as we work with our state and local partners to implement agreements that will improve public safety, economic stability, and build a better Oklahoma. I want to thank our attorneys for the tireless work done on behalf of all tribes who stood in agreement in our united effort. The Mvskoke Creek National Council was crucial in providing the input and tribal resources needed to stand up for the plain language of our agreements. This outcome is a testament that tribal governments working together can achieve great victory, and our cohesion with our fellow sovereigns is effective when we're committed to a cause that benefits us all." So I think, in some of those thoughts there, we're hitting on the key points that the chief wanted to drive home, which is we always maintain that these compacts renewed. For us, it wasn't a question about opinion or belief or what we'd like to see happen. It was just in the wording of the compacts themselves. And honestly, to touch on some of the Supreme Court ruling and the aftermath of that, we're going to have to work together. We're going to have to work together with MOUs, with our cross deputizations. So that's very important as well. and also our united tribes that have, that we've all banded together in this entire compact issue. And I want to make it very clear that the recent developments in the with the five tribes and the agreement in principle does not mean that we are not united or will work with those other tribes. It simply means that Mvskoke Creek Nation has to do what's in the best interest of Mvskoke Creek Nation. And we feel that the McGirt ruling, the Supreme Court ruling, directly affects and has to do with Mvskoke Creek Nation. And we just want the conversations to reflect that. And we want the work going forward to reflect that as well. So a lot to get in there, but it's great that he was able to release that statement today. And actually this morning, he was able to just sort of put a video out right after he heard the news that we had won the case. And so kind of just got him in his element there, be able to share with everyone. So we were happy about that. And it's been a good day, been a very productive day and a busy day, but a good day.
I imagine the atmosphere is pretty, relieved to have another victory in the month of July. What a month July has been. But I kind of wanted to touch back to some of those points early on in gaming compact talks. It seemed like Chairman Morgan would reiterate over and over a negotiation to come to the table and renegotiate gaming compacts meant that we would be receiving something as well. And it almost seemed like this was an effort born out of need on the state to maybe fish for more funding. And they had more lists of wants and needs than perhaps the tribes have had. Is there can you kind of speak to that at all?
Yeah, I'd like to speak to that point because I think we saw a recent op-ed in the Tulsa World that sort of, I don't know, for lack of a better term, sort of paints the tribe into a corner to where they should bear the brunt of failed Oklahoma economics for certain things, when we're looking at it as the tribes are a great reason that Oklahoma does as well as it does in our rural areas and our communities and everything like that. For us, we echo what Chairman Morgan has always said, any sort of come to the table and negotiate would almost admit that the compacts weren't in good standing and needed to be renegotiated. So in order for us to maintain, hey, there's nothing to negotiate, they've renewed and they've been negotiated when they were first released and had that language in there that they would automatically renew. So for us, it wasn't about a need to renegotiate or anything like that. And we've always wanted to be an open communication line, open partners on that. But we've been, the principal chief has been in office for just a little over 6 months. I mean, about almost 7 months now. And the first conversation that he's had with the governor took place last week. And it had to do with McGirt, the fallout of McGirt. Didn't have even anything to do with the compact issue. So we want there to be an open line of communication, and we hope that kind of improves in the future.
One of the questions thrown out, considering SCOTUS ruling affirming our reservation status, why are we still engaging in gaming compacts with the state? I'm not 100% on the relationship that the compacts have, but isn't there some involvement? I mean, do you remember how involved NIGC and on the federal level they are on?
That really doesn't have anything to do with gaming compacts. The McGirt ruling doesn't. That's something that was worked in at those National Indian Gaming Commission, the bylaws and everything like that. So that's all worked through there whenever gaming sort of came into play as we know it now. So it really doesn't have any bearing on the McGirt ruling.
Okay. All right. Is there anything like lingering about gaming that's still up in question for the Mvskoke Nation? Or were you just carrying on for the next 15 years?
We're just doing what we do.
Okay. All right.
I mean, of course, right now we've got the great challenges because of a pandemic and rising numbers and everything like that. But we've put things in place that we think are, keep our guests and our customers safe and able to operate and get the folks that work at those facilities back to work in some in some aspect, and to some aspect of normal. But as normal as we can be right now, Angel, we're just continuing on, and like we always have, and we will for the next 15 years before I guess there's a need maybe to revisit this or go through this again.
I was listening in on some of those planning sessions over the last few months when we had our gaming officials kind of talking about getting back to business and everything. And it seemed like there had been some kind of updates, like as far as I know, I believe they were saying that our casinos are back in compliance with the I guess the banks, so to speak. And then I even heard a pretty decent report considering that they are operating at diminished capacity, that they were going to be able to make those payments back to the tribe again. So that was something that was really up in the air, I think, when we first were coming out of this COVID quarantine that the nation went under as our casinos opened back up. Do you have any news on that front?
I think that from what we've heard from gaming, that we're doing quite well as far as what we, I guess, sort of imagined it would be like to get back into business. Doing quite well there, and as you said, there's a lot of things in a gaming bank requirement that I don't have a clue of. Those would be great questions for you all, to our gaming operations authority board attorneys or anything like that, but as far as I'm concerned, what we're hearing from gaming is that they're doing good business, and that they don't see any major fallbacks as far as what they are going to be able to contribute, and a lot of that has to do with them being able to get some of the CARES Act funding and be able to get up to speed operationally again. Not replacing revenues, but operational costs and everything like that, because they took care of a wide range of people that were off of work and just at home during that time.
I know that you're kind of pressed to get to a meeting here, but I just wanted to double check. Is there any other announcements that you wanted to throw out? What's the atmosphere like? What's the news on the ground over in the executive branch? Where anything to look out for?
Yeah. Well, actually, the meeting I'm going to get to is we're finalizing the Principal Chief's commission that will basically be made up of, as he told Governor Stitt. Governor Stitt called and said, "Yeah, we got a commission," and we all read about it and everything like that. And Chief Hill basically said, "That's cool. We're going to have a commission too, and we're going to have it made up of Mvskoke Creek citizens in different areas of expertise, knowledge, and from around the country to be able to weigh in on what the main key subject areas that this Supreme Court ruling and the affirmation of our reservation touches, which is quite a bit, and it's a little bit open-ended, but." Kind of putting the finishing touches on all of that, be able to announce that really soon. And we're really excited about it because It puts us at the very forefront of being able to recommend to the National Council, hey, this is exactly what we think this looks like from here on out. The Chief's already established task forces in different areas to help us in the immediacy of the Supreme Court aftermath. And if you'll notice, I try not to call it by case name, because here at the Chief's office, we really would just like to keep it as, the reservation was affirmed by the Supreme Court decision, everything like that. Massive amount of respect for the victims in those crimes. So we're not really glorifying names or anything like that. So whenever I say Supreme Court ruling, hopefully everybody knows what I'm talking about.
That's kind of been our approach as well. It's been like every headline I've done has been like, I'm not putting that guy's name in the headline. Yeah. It's more of the reaffirmation of the reservation from the Supreme Court.
Always been about the reservation for us. Always will be. Those cases were just sort of the avenue for the Supreme Court to take a look at what we got going on down here. But at the same time, in the immediacy and having to do some things really quickly jurisdictionally, and maybe taking a look at how we can actually put things in place to keep the peace, keep law and order, make sure that we're doing everything we can, developing, like I said, task force areas, getting some things done in those areas I think that need the most immediate need. And then you look at a commission as sort of our, not only meeting some of those immediate needs, but also looking at a long-term opportunities. And we really see this as a fantastic opportunity. And we hope that our neighboring communities and the state and the municipalities around us, we hope that they share with us in that, because I think it's a great opportunity for us all to make a better Oklahoma. And I think a few of them do. And I'm really excited about that. And we've heard from a few of them, and we're ready to get to work.
Yeah, wonderful. And we've seen like some of those agreements kind of playing out. I've been watching Facebook, and it looks like we're cross-deputizing with a couple of entities right now. And then I've been seeing legislation, so we'll kind of keep an eye on that. I promised to cut you off and let you go at a certain time, and so I'm coming right in under that. But I want to say thank you for coming on and announcing that wonderful big news for the tribes and gaming and Indian gaming in Oklahoma. That's great news. And any questions that we haven't been able to get right now, I'm going to kind of take from everyone, and I'm going to try to fill them out with some stories later. I appreciate everyone's input, and hopefully everybody can continue to follow along as the month develops. If we get any more excitement this month, I don't know if I'll be able to stand it.
I know. Real quick before I go, Angel, I want to let you know that we are seeing people receive their coronavirus relief fund monies, sort of trickling out now. Really made a few changes in that process that I think we're thinking is really going to speed it up. Hopefully, we had the call center. We had a little bit of a miscommunication as far as some folks thought when we announced that the call center would be brought down to just one day, that it meant we would only be working on relief fund applications for one day. It's actually the exact opposite. We knocked the call center down to just one day to take all of the people working on the call center, move them into strictly processing applications on a full-time, all around the clock basis, not just, at the call center every single day, being taken away from where we could actually be processing applications. So it got more people to more time to applications. It just took them less off the phone answering questions. But we've seen that the last week or so, most of the calls and questions have just been, when am I going to receive, so it hasn't been anything about like, am I filling this out the right way? It's more structural. It's more of a, when is the relief fund going to be sent? And so by taking that down to just a week, one day, they're able to put so much more effort, manpower, and work just to getting those applications through, getting them sent over to finance for payment. So we're working on good developments in that regard. Just stay patient with us. There's been so many applications with just kind of limited staff, and then COVID-19. You don't want to ask a bunch of people to come in and work on something, or you don't want to move them from different places, because we don't really know where everyone's been, and we can't really track, and we're trying to do the best we can to basically keep people isolated in different areas to where there's not much social, there's room for social distancing instead of everybody kind of being there. So we're working through that, doing the best we can. Want to thank everybody for being patient with us, and just continue to be a little bit patient. We're getting those CRF funds sent out. So
awesome. All right. Well, thank you for some good updates, and you guys have a good afternoon. And I'm going to compile all these questions and try to get some answers for folks. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you, Angel. Thank you, everyone.
Thursday, July 23rd, the Mvskoke Creek Nation National Council unanimously passed NCA 20-037, and it was immediately signed by Principal Chief David Hill. There was an amendment on the floor that removed the ability of Mvskoke Media to select a board member. Mvskoke Media is now officially an independent statutory executive agency.
It was one that I think Representative Randolph and everyone else was wanting to see it. Just go ahead and see it done, and that way we can get the Mvskoke Media back on board and just move on from here.
It's been a long time coming that needed to be done, and I think another milestone for the Mvskoke Creek Nation Media and Mvskoke Creek Nation citizens.
Baby, Nuchibaste, Daddy, Nuchahobogan, High and that, Talagi Godos, Baby, Nutzibaste Mamat Chufi Hupugan Hayandat Talagi Godos Baby Nutzibaste Puja Ijo Hupugan Hayandat Talagi Godos Baby Nutzibaste.
From the earliest times, the immediate family, relatives, and other tribal members watched after the children. Now we live in a world where both parents and other relatives work away from the home. So who will watch our children? For most of us, we will need to find child care in homes and centers in the business of caring for children. But how do we decide which center or home care is best suited to watch our children? Let's follow the West family as they search to find child care for their son. We join Mrs. West and her friend at home.
I'm starting work in 2 weeks and I'm looking for a daycare.
Well, whenever I was looking for a daycare, I called the Creek Nation Office of Child Care. They have a resource and referral unit.
I think I'll call now.
Mrs. West begins the search that will help her and her husband find the best center or home care for their child. She may ask other friends and relatives for recommendations. Mrs. West could also call the state child care office for referrals.
They gave me a lot of referrals, but said before I make an appointment to make a list of costs, location, and hours of operation.
Well, why don't you call now?
I think I will.
Mrs. West makes an appointment to see the director of a nearby licensed center. She chooses a time convenient for Mr. West to join her. Every good child care program welcomes visits and questions from parents. So come prepared to ask questions. The Wests arrive at the center. The outside looks cheerful and inviting. The director makes them feel welcome. The Wests have come with questions to ask the director. These are important questions you will ask in your own search for quality child care. Mrs. West explains they have a 3-year-old boy who needs child care. She begins the questions.
What training does your staff have?
All staff are required to have 20 hours of outside training per year. All of our lead teachers either have an educational degree or an associate's degree in child development.
How does your center discipline or correct a child?
When a child misbehaves in our center, the staff gets down on the child's level and talks with them about their behavior. We also use timeouts. We do not believe in mishandling or spanking any child.
Does your staff have training in first aid and CPR?
All of our staff are trained in CPR and first aid. Our guidelines state that there must be someone at the center at all times who is trained in both of these areas.
For field trips, how do you buckle your children in?
At our center, children weighing 40 pounds or less are placed in car seats. All other children are buckled in the back seat. At no time is any one child allowed to ride in the front seat.
What is your policy for someone who comes to pick up a child?
We have a signature card that you will fill out stating whom you will allow your child to leave with.
What does your daily schedule consist of?
At our center, we provide a more structured environment for the children, but we also feel that it is important that you give ample free time in order for children to be able to explore and have socialization.
A daily schedule should include pre-planned activities like music, story time, group sharing, a period of rest, learning center activities, and art. There should be daily outdoor playtime and indoor free time. Also, ask about their weekly menu. The meal should have meat or other protein, a vegetable, fruit, bread, and milk. There should also be a snack in the morning and another in the afternoon. The director invites Mr. and Mrs. West to tour the facilities. Here are observations that will help in your decision making. As you visit the classroom or indoor play area, see if the teachers are in control of the classroom. Also, notice if teachers and their helpers give adequate attention to each child. Good caregivers talk with each child on his or her level. They hug children and show affection toward them. Are the children happy and well cared for? Are they at ease with the staff and with each other? Are the children engaged in play or learning activities? There should be enough toys and games for the children, and they should be kept in easy reach. There should be learning centers like math areas or science areas where the children can experience educational activities appropriate for their age. We want to be on the lookout for safety problems. Electrical outlets should not be left uncovered. Outlets should have the proper safety covers, like these. Do you see smoke detectors in the rooms? Are fire extinguishers readily accessible? Food preparers must wear hair nets, gloves, and aprons, and food should not be left out. Check to see that diapering is done in a place away from the food preparation area. Cleansers and medicines should be locked up, as well as knives and other dangerous objects. Walk around the playground. Is the outdoor playground fenced in when next to dangerous areas like streets or parking lots? Is the playground equipment sturdy and safe? We should visit several child care programs, and after each visit we ask ourselves, would my child be happy and safe here? It takes time to make an informed decision about quality child care. It takes time to ask questions and observe several child care programs. It's worth our time to make sure our children will be happy and secure in the program we choose. Mr. and Mrs. West have taken the time and become informed. They know who will watch their child.